So this video is going to cover the second half of section 6.6, right? So this section is still talking about different kinds of percent problems that involve money. So today we're going to talk about markup and a percent shortcut at the end. So markup, if you don't know what markup is, we're going to write it down. Markup is added on to the price of an item. When you go to the store, it's added on to the price of the item. It increases the price of the item so that the store makes money, right? If they don't increase the price above what they paid for their products, then they wouldn't make any money, okay? So we are going to look at this bar again here. This is still 0. This is still 0%. And now if we think about what the store pays, that's going to be our W down here, okay? And that's 100%, right? So from the store's perspective, they buy something, they pay whatever their price is, that's what the store pays. Well, and I know this is a little tight over here, sorry. They add on to that so that they make money. So this part that they add on is the markup, right? So this is going to be what the customer pays, right? They're going to pay a little bit more, and this pink extension here is how much the company makes, all right? So this percent right here is going to be over 100%. That's going to include the extra percent that the store added on, okay? So let's put that into a proportion, right? We're going to say what the customer pays, or the cost to the customer, and then the cost to the store. And then over here for our percent, yes, this is still P for percent, but this is going to be 100 plus the markup, right? It's going to be plus however much extra that the store adds on so that they make money over 100%. Okay? So something really important to remember here. The customer always pays more than the store. So write that down, right? The customer, what the customer pays is always bigger than what the store paid. Even though this is technically A, it's the part, but it's going to be larger than the whole here because otherwise the company wouldn't make any money, right? The customer pays more than what the store paid. So there are 3 kinds of questions that we're going to go through. The first one says, or the first type of question is finding what the customer pays. So we're going to say that's the cost to the customer or selling. You might see selling price, or like what does the price tag actually say when you go to buy it, okay? So a couple examples. If the store pays $175, right, that's your W, your whole, and they add on a 33% markup. So I'm going to extend this another 33%. Well, here was the 100% that the store paid, but now I'm at 133% for what the customer pays. And I'm looking for this price for the customer. Okay, so I'm going to put that into my proportion. Customer always goes on top. That's what I'm trying to find. That's considered the part. The store is considered the W. That's $175. Okay, and then I use this percent of what the customer is actually paying. The customer is paying 133% compared to what the store paid, over 100. Okay, so another way to think about this and kind of color code it, everything on top here is the customer, and everything on the bottom is the store. So we consider what the store pays as 100%, and then what the customer pays is more than 100%. Okay? So I'm going to cross multiply here, and again, I'm assuming you can cross multiply. when I solve this for A, go ahead and pause, put it into your calculator, and I get that the cost to the customer is this. Now, does that make sense? The store buys something for $175, and then they add on to it a little bit and charge the customer $232. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, before we do the next one, I want to come back up here and add our color coding, right? Everything on the top, we talked about labels having to line up. Everything on the top should go with customer. So this is the money that the customer pays, and then the percent that the customer pays. Okay? And then again, labels should be lined up. We should be able to come down here, and we know that this is the money that the store pays, and this is the percent that the store pays. So if we think of it that way, customer, customer, store, store, it'll help us keep things lined up. All right, so come back down here. Let's do another one. The store pays $355. We consider that 100%, but they're going to add on to it. They're going to add an extra 120%. Okay, now careful here. An extra 120% means now we're at 220%. And here's the part, but what the customer pays is what we're trying to find. Okay, so an extra 110 brings it to 210%. All right, back to our proportion. Store pays $355. That's always my whole. Okay, I'm looking for what the customer pays. Here, the percent that the customer pays is 220% over 100. So again, I'm looking for cost to the customer if they're paying 220% compared to the store. All right, so pause here if you need to. I'm going to cross multiply this, type it into your calculator, and I get this, right? The store paid $355 for something, but they mark it up a bunch, and they turn around and charge the customers this much. Okay, we're going to skip this one for now. I want to make sure we have enough time to get through everything. So we're going to come on down to the next examples. Finding what the store pays. Okay, you might hear us say cost to the store, or what the store paid for something. And remember, that's going to be less than what the customer ends up paying. All right, so let's look at this one. Customer pays $115. Well, I got to bump this out and extend it. They pay $115. That's your part. And I'm looking for the whole of what the store pays. Okay? All right, so if the markup is 43%, if I add on an extra 43% here, then that means the customer ended up paying 143%. So I've got to kind of do this extra work and think about extending my bar so that I have the information I need for my proportion. All right, so in this case, I know the customer, that's always my part. I'm looking for W. I know that the customer, right, these have to line up. If this is what the customer pays, then I need to put in the percent that the customer pays, which is 143%, and that's always 100. All right, pause if you need to. We're assuming you can cross multiply this. Type it into your calculator. So actually pause, and I get this. So the store paid $80. They mark it up and charge the customers $115. That would make sense. Okay, let's do one more here. Customer pays $350. So I extend it here. They pay $350. That includes a 20% markup. So if I think back, here's what the store pays. That's 100%. If I add on another 20, I'm at 120%. And now I have the information I need for my proportion. So see if you can go from here, plug everything in where it goes, and finish this one. So I want you to pause it before you get the answer here. Okay, so I finished plugging things in, right? If the customer pays $350 and 120%, those line up together. And I cross-multiplied for W. So again, we're going to skip this one for now. We'll see if we have time to come back to it. Flip it over. And I'm on this one. So now we're finding the percent of the markup. And what's important to remember here is that it's always going to be, when we solve for P, it's always going to be P, but then minus 100. Take the 100 out that the store already paid, because we're only looking for just the extra, right? Just the markup that they added on, not including what they already paid. Okay, so we'll go over that some more. All right, customer pays 75. Oops, well, I got to extend that, right? Because they pay more than the store. Customer's over here at 75. The store paid 64. Here's 100%. And I'm looking for how much is just this markup, right? Just the pink part. All right, so if I put it into my proportion, customer on top paid 75. Store on the bottom for the whole paid 64. Customer always pays more than the store, so that makes sense. And I'm going to solve for P. Okay? If I cross multiply this really quick, okay, so solve for P, I get that P, I'm going to write it here in purple so you can see it. I get that P says 117. Well, that includes, that's this whole percent, 117% here. But I only want what was the extra pink part that got added on. So I'm going to take that 100 away, subtract, and I get that the markup right here, the pink part, is 17%. Okay, I know I'm jumping to a new copy here. We're going to do one more example and then move on. So here again, customer pays 308. I have to extend my bar to show that the customer out here is at 308. The store pays 220. That's at 100%. And what I'm really looking for is how big is this extra pink part, okay? So I'm going to solve for P and then subtract 100 to figure out just the pink. So go ahead, pause it here. I want you to finish plugging things in where they go, and let's see what we get for the markup on this one. So pause and hit play when you're ready to check it. Okay, so I put customer, store, I solved for P, right, cross multiplied, and I got that P is 140. Well, the answer I'm looking for is just how long is the pink part, so I have to subtract 100, and this markup is 40%. Well, like that. Okay? All right, we're going to jump all the way down here to the shortcut. Here we go. There's a shortcut that we can use, that uses the percent equation. And I'm going to write that down, A equals P times W. If you think back, this was section 6.4. You can rewatch the video if you need to. So we're going to use the percent equation with this shortcut, and we use it when we're finding the final price. So if you have a question that says, what's the final price after tax or tip or a discount, then we can use this shortcut. All right. So the shortcut's this. Think about the overall percent that you do pay. Okay, the overall percent that you do pay. And remember, in the equation, we need to turn that overall percent into a decimal. Because when we put P in here, it's always a decimal when we use the equation. Okay, so let's think about it. Taxes. When you're paying taxes, that gets added on to 100. Okay, same thing with tip. It's going to be 100 plus the tip. And for markup, it's going to be the full price, your total bill or whatever, 100% of that plus whatever the markup amount is, right? So we're adding on to 100, adding on to 100, adding on to 100 for tax, tip, and markup. For sales, you're taking that off of 100. Right? You're taking it away from 100%. So I'm going to do just a couple examples. Okay? So here for tip, if I add on 20% tip, I'm paying 120%, which would be 1.2 as a decimal. Okay? 43% discount. Well, I would take that off of 100. So 100 minus 43 means I'm still paying for 57%, or 0.57. Okay? I want you to try these, pause, and then check, and we'll talk about it more in class. So check, and we'll do more of these together.